Harrison, talk to me about what is Out of Pocket all about.
Out of Pocket is about a very, um, I would say universal problem, but in this case, in the film, it's very hyper specific to type 1 diabetics. I mean, what it's about is the reliance that type 1 diabetics have on specific insulin to live and how difficult it can be to get that if you don't have enough money or if you don't have insurance. Now, over top of that is a sheen of genre, which is we made it a little bit of a crime thriller about that, thinking like, okay, is there a third option? Is there another way outside the box to get what you need or what these characters need, and kind of just go from there. So,
Now, I also work in the medical field, so I'm also a nurse. I'm
oh yeah,
everything else. So
cool,
I'm very aware of how hard it could be to get medical necessary things. And the
yeah,
cost alone has become something that's been really problematic for people to get the medication that they need. When we talk about insulin, you're talking about something that will literally, you will die from if you don't
yeah,
get that.
yeah.
How close are you to the subject of making sure, you have insulin with diabetes?
Well, I mean, I have type 1 diabetes. I've had it since I was 11. And so my whole life, basically, like being under my parents' insurance growing up, I was never really aware of like what fragile, like, situation I could have been in if I didn't have insurance. But now that I'm older and now that I'm like pursuing a career in the arts and I have other jobs as well, but I really see, and over the last 10 years or so, I've become really, um, aware of other people like me, and as my own situation has gotten difficult at times to get insulin, I've seen all the problems with the system that we have right now, which is just, it's just like, usually it's like the perfect coincidence is to put you in a circumstance where you're like, well, now I really need to get creative of how I'm going to figure this out. And so it was for a while writing, it was kind of just born out of like a frustrating call I'd have with like insurance or a frustrating call I'd have with a pharmacy. I'd be like, well, this emotion, this frustration that I have, I should probably put it somewhere and not let it fester. And so I started putting it together in the screenplay. And a lot of the stuff that happens in the film is straight out of like either a story a character tells or something that happens to a character happened directly to me or someone else I know. But most of it is just like very autobiographical, but then stitched together to make it a little bit more exciting for the character, if you know what I mean.
I do. Now, trying to put something like that that's really personal into a film is going to have a lot of complications, right? We
Yeah.
have the normal logistics of just making a film, but trying to keep it true to your experiences while still living in this world that you've created have got to have some challenges. Talk to me about some of the challenges you had to overcome to make this movie.
Well, I mean, I started writing it like 6 years ago because I've had the idea for a while, since my early 20s, and I'd written so many drafts of the screenplay because the problem was I had the idea, I had the life experience, and I had so much material to draw from that I felt really paralyzed. I was like, I can go this way with it. It could be really comedic. I can go this way with it. It'll be really depressing. I could go away in the middle with it. And so I'd been working on scripts for a long time. And then 2 years ago, I got together with some people I've collaborated with before. We were all basically like, we want to make something again. We want to make another film. And I basically, in the meeting, I was like, whoever has the best idea here, let's go with it. And let's just make something this year. And so then everyone pitched their idea, and then I pitched a couple, and this one's the one that everyone there was like, we should do that. Sounds like, because they're like, sounds like it's something we could do. Sounds like something we could write easily or like quickly. And so then there was a 6-month period of writing and pre-production that was, all for free for everyone doing it with me. And we were getting funding together. I don't think legally I can tell the whole story, but vaguely I'll say we had funding for the film and we had things figured out for the story. But then a month before we were to start shooting, basically all the funding got taken away. And so, but what I had left, what we had was what we'd already spent money on. And when the funding left, I told the people who were funding it originally, I was like, I can't repay you for the stuff that we've already spent today. I can give you that in like 6 months or in a year. I promise. And they were cool with that. And so basically we had like tickets, like plane tickets booked for collaborators, equipment booked, a location booked, and the actors. And so, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to put together with like, we had like 60% of what we were planning on doing. And I tried to write the film around the resources we all of a sudden were left with. And so I rewrote it like 6 or 7 times before we started shooting. And then even while we were shooting, my producer and I, we would every day we'd be like, this can be better. Like, is it going to be worse if we keep rewriting it every day, or is it going to be worse if we just stay with what we have right now? And so every day I would basically rewrite what we were shooting. It'd be same location, same actors, but I would just try to buff up the dialogue or make it more simple to the audience. And then even as we were editing, it was basically like reworking the sequencing of how events take place. It all is coherent, but it was very different from anything else I've ever made, whereas me and everyone on set who was very passionate about it, and everyone was so generous with making it, we were all basically like, what do we have at our disposal that we can use to make this? Can we make it better? So it was very hectic and chaotic, but I honestly think for something like this, it's also about characters going through hectic and chaotic situations and trying to make the most of it. I wouldn't want it to be different because I felt so close to the characters while making it, because I really felt like I was in their situation.
Right. And it sounds like you had a lot of those experiences happening behind the scenes that kind of helped lead to the kind of the feelings and the themes that everyone's going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It really kind of collaborates together.
Yeah.
Speaking of collaborating, there's always those MVPs on set, the people who really drive through to get the production done. If you had this, the people read the very top of your mind saying this movie could not have happened without X, who would that be?
It's going to be a bit of a long list, but my cinematographer Maximilian Wright is a genius, and he did so much with so little, and so little time too, and so little sleep. And then his camera crew, they were amazing. My editor Gage Miles, he really brought in a lot. He brought in fresh eyes to the film after we shot it, and he added so many ideas that helped tie things together. Camille Cherie, I've worked with her before. She's in the cast. She was incredible. Sasha, the lead, she's amazing. Josh, we had 2 Joshes in the cast, and Josh Fish, Josh Richardson, and Caleb Brown. They were all incredible. But my producer, Micah Gondola, he signed up for the film like 3 days before we started shooting, and he was just going to be like a kind of a PA. But then quickly on the first day, he was helping me so much that I basically was like, all right, I'm going to start bringing you into the creative conversations about this. And him coming in after we lost funding, he didn't really have any idea of what like the original idea was. So he was able to kind of be like fresh soundboard. And he became a full producer on the film very quickly. And then just like, we had so many weird mishaps happen while we were filming. We had to fire our sound guy halfway through, and so we had to come up with a sound crew like very, very quickly, like on one day. And he just stepped into that role while still producing and calling people. He was like incredible, and I just keep thinking of people, but I would say Micah for sure. And then Ben Stovall, he was my AD. He really helped. He was like a therapist and an AD at the same time. He kept helping me with anything that I was like emotionally feeling and any logistical problem I was having. So, but I mean, at the same time, like Caleb Brown, who plays River in the film, he would show up to set on days when he wasn't even shooting, because he said he just liked being there, but he also would just like hold the boom mic if we needed, or help move lights around. And so it was seeing those people who really did not need to be there for any selfish reason, and they just wanted to help out. Because I was like, Caleb, you can come, but I'm not going to pay you for these days. And he was like, that's totally fine. Seeing that really puts wind in your sails and like helps you as a filmmaker like really believe that you can pull this off. And then so I mean, I don't know, there's not enough I can do to thank them. So hopefully my next film I can employ them all again, and we can do it not exactly the same way, but again together.
Well, we get to celebrate it all at the Utah International Film Festival, and that's happening really soon, coming here in January. Are we going to see a lot of this A-team showing up? Are we going to be able to celebrate together?
I think we're all, our lead Sasha, I think, is flying in to attend the premiere. I think everyone's going to be there. And I think everyone's really excited. You know, we wrapped shooting summer 2023. So I've been fielding texts and emails for a year of like, is this movie going to be done? And which is, I love that they're all so anxious to see it. I know that they mean well. It's nice to be able to finally be like, yeah, actually, here is the date. We're all going to be there. So it's been nice being able to have this date on a calendar because, independent filmmaking, I didn't have anyone to answer to. And so I was basically like, I wasn't lazy with putting it all together, but I was like, let's have a little bit more time and let's marinate it. Yeah, I had other things going on in my life as well. But it's great that now I have that date that I can just be like, yeah, and then that's when we all get to watch it. So,
well, I'm excited to be able to celebrate with you. And the rest of the cast and crew there is going to be an awesome time. And this is the premiere. We're excited to buy the premiere out of pocket. Harrison, thank you so much. Guys, get your tickets over on our website right now.